welcome to the next episode, the last episode, not the last ever, but the last episode, as far as up to now, of One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. I am your host, Vincent Opper, joined by my co-host, JJ Jackson, and our frequent contributor, the guy who knows all the analytical stuff because he's younger than us and he's not stuck in his old man ways, Max Opper. And Max, one day you will be stuck in your old man ways. And kind of nice to be there.
This is what he's got to look forward to.
Yeah.
Look at this, Max.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
You see all that hair on your head? Here it comes. There you go. But anyway, we do ask you to like us on Facebook, follow us on X. You can contact us through One Card, One Cup, One Beer at gmail.com. You can subscribe to our page by going to the icon at the bottom right-hand corner, those of you who are on PC or Mac. Or if you're watching this on a streaming device, at the end of the video, just highlight our icon and you will be a member of our fold. You can support us through Patreon. Go to patreon.com and search for One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer, and you can support our efforts for as little as $3 a month. And we appreciate all of our Patreon supporters. We have a winner in the Guess the Cub contest. So this winner gets a tally. Remember, this is cumulative, and the grand prize will be given at the end of spring training, where you will get the official One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer t-shirt, the official coffee mug, the official 500 milliliter water bottle. You will also get a nice, cool license plate that's One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer with the logos of both teams on it, that has absolutely no legal bearing, so don't drive around with this thing. And but the creme de la creme is that you will get 2 tickets to a Cardinal game in Busch Stadium. We're going to try to make it a Cardinal Cub game, and the quality of your seat is going to be contingent upon how much money we bring in Patreon. So anywhere from nosebleed to you're sitting in the dugout making the decisions as the manager, because we have that kind of pull. Yeah. But our winner, who guessed the proper Cub from last week, is Tom Maget. Am I pronouncing that right? Tom Maget. Tom correctly knew that this was Rick Rushell in his years with the Cubs. I like the picture there with the mustache, but the rest of these are unshaven. And this is how diligent I am. This one that's right above me right here, it had his autograph going across his uniform. I took the time to Photoshop all that out because I did not want anyone to cheat or to read it. But anyway, so Tom has a tally. We have 2 people with tallies, and the first person, I can't remember who it is. So, but anyway, maybe in a week or 2 we'll have our next Cub up there. But thanks a lot and congratulations, Tom. Now we're gonna start where we never start before. We're gonna start with Cub news because it has been a huge week in Cub Nation. Max, tell us what is behind your head.
Well, this is a picture of David Ross and Craig Councell shaking hands because Craig is replacing Ross after a few years of lackluster management. So really exciting. I don't think anyone saw this coming. I definitely didn't see this coming. I don't think David Ross saw this coming. So just really exciting.
I want to say this about Ross. I've been very critical of him because he's not an X's and O's guy, but I have said he does a great job in the clubhouse. But my philosophy on that is you can do a great job in the clubhouse and still blow games. You can be a guy who's not really a clubhouse guy, and you have leaders in your clubhouse who can do that. You don't have to be the clubhouse guy that everybody likes, like Ross was. Craig Councell, who is a lot more stoic, he is the X's and O guy, and he is not going to lose games on the field. Not every decision is going to work, but he will make the right decisions, and that's what I'm so charged about. And no, I did not see this coming either. We have talked, we've been doing this for a little over a year. We have talked ad nauseum of our admiration of Craig Councell, and I can't believe he's a Chicago Cub. JJ, what do you think about it?
Man, you know what? Everybody talks about the Cardinal Cub rivalry, but the Brewer Cub rivalry, I think, is about as good. And
It's big.
And you guys are closer together than we are as far as distance. So the fans can travel back and forth. But what would happen if the Brewers, who need a manager, go get Ross? This could be something special. I tell you what, I usually don't watch a lot of Cub Brewer games, but it would be very exciting. I actually thought when they let him go talk to other teams, it was going to be the New York Mets. That's what I thought. I didn't even think about the Cubs because you guys only finished one game out of the playoffs. But and I kind of feel sorry for Ross. But if you can get somebody like a Craig Councell, you gotta pull the trigger there. And I applaud the Cubs. You guys each year, I tell you what, the last 2 years have gotten incrementally taken that bigger step, and this could be the thing that puts you over the top now. So it's gonna be exciting. As a Cardinal fan, I'm kind of worried. This is kind of like when you guys got Joe Madden. I thought, the Cubs are doing this. It's going to be a good series. We're going to have a good rivalry. And then when you got Joe Madden, I was like, oh, we're in some trouble now. And this is how I feel that you have Craig Councell as your manager.
Yeah, there is a lot of deja vu of that 2014-15 offseason when we did get Madden. We had Ricky Renteria, who I think still can be a good major league manager. He may not get another shot at his age, but Ricky Renteria was not Jed, Theo's first hire as manager. And he did a good job with a bad team that they knew all this talent was coming, and they thought Renteria was the man who could bring this talent along into the major leagues and transition into a powerful team. Well, suddenly Madden was available and they had to take him. So Renteria gets canned. Then Renteria, a few years later, goes to a very young, inexperienced White Sox team and starts to work with that young talent. And you think he's going to carry that team to where they're going to take that big step, which they did. But they found out, La Russa was be willing to come back, and Reinsdorf and La Russa have been like that. I'm crossing my fingers. Have been like that for decades because La Russa was the manager of the White Sox when Reinsdorf bought the White Sox. So Renteria's kind of got the shaft on a few places. And Ross, I feel bad for anybody who loses their job. I really do. What really sucks is that they gave Ross a vote of confidence not too long ago after the season ended, and now this happened. But it's like Councell's available. He's from Wisconsin. He wants to stay in the Midwest. His house is about an hour's drive from Wrigley Field. I mean, it was just a few minutes drive from Milwaukee Stadium. So he doesn't really even have to move if he doesn't want to. I mean, he will probably get an apartment in Chicago and keep his house. So the downside is that the Milwaukee fans have felt like they have been shafted, which they kind of have been shafted. On top of that, I saw that William Contreras had a meme that I posted on X or something of 3 face palms. Like, oh my gosh. And I guess Councell has a park in one of the suburbs of Milwaukee, and that's already been vandalized. So it does kind of deepen the rivalry. And I hadn't even thought of the angle if Ross goes to Milwaukee.
Oh.
So what do you think about this? I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, Gary, online, and Gary was saying that how bad that the Cardinals want Yachty as their manager. And my feeling is, I don't know if that's for instance, when Sandberg was available and everybody was saying Sandberg could be the next manager of the Cubs. This was, I don't know, 12 years ago or something like that. When you bring back a former player and it doesn't work out as a manager, that kind of tarnishes their legacy a bit. Mike Matheny, for example, is a punchline instead of remembered as a Gold Glove catcher on some very good Cardinal teams. It worked out for Red Shandy's, but Kenny Boyer, he finished as a Cardinal manager in the 70s, and he did not have success. I'll put it that way. And that kind of tarnishes the legacy a bit. So I wasn't in favor of Sandberg coming back to manage, which turned out to be pretty good, because when he did get his shot in Philadelphia, he was not anything special as a manager. Perhaps if Yadi's legacy finishes up being a manager and it doesn't go well, I don't know about that. But because Ross was a World Series hero. He hit his final at bat, was in the World Series, hit a home run. He was one of the veteran glue to that young team that brought them through the World Series. And now his legacy's kind of tarnished a bit because he had a team that during the first 2 years, I think was it just one team? Was it just the COVID year he took him to the playoffs, or did he?
Yeah, just the COVID year.
Yeah. So, yeah, it kind of tarnishes his legacy. That, the fact that he was on Dancing with the Stars, you shouldn't tarnish your legacy by managing and going on Dancing with the Stars, but that's what he did. But Ross is a great guy. I think he's a nice guy. I enjoy his knowledge of the game. I just don't think it's different when you're sitting on the hot seat. If I was sitting on the hot seat, my decisions would be stupid. I would be saying, hey, PJ Higgins, go to shortstop, because you're on the hot seat. And I think when Ross was on the hot seat and not really having the chance to work his way into the job by being a coach or something of that nature, it just didn't work out in the end. And one thing that's really interesting about Councell, he's going to be the highest paid manager in baseball history, 5 years, $40 million. He appreciates the analytics and he pays attention to them and he makes decisions based upon those, but he still is kind of a old school. I will play on hunches, and he gambles right quite a few times. So.
If I was a manager, I would rather be in the Central than on the East or the West Coast. I think St. Louis has always been known. Our media is not real rough on our coaches or anything, and I think
Kevin Slayton is.
Well, he doesn't hardly like. He likes.
I hate everybody. I'm a lawyer. I'm Kevin Slayton.
Carpe diem. The only one he likes is that Mizzou coach, Norm Stewart. That's about the only.
Oh yeah,
he does like Norm Stewart. But
excuse me, I've got Norm Stewart on the line. Norm, when are we gonna make out again?
You had. If I close my eyes, I can see him. That was a very good impression. But I think
I hope Kevin Slayton never watches this because he's got a temper. He's about 6'4".
Yeah, he can't get all of us.
Go ahead.
But I think our media, like Councell, I think had an opportunity to go to New York, but I would much rather coach in Chicago or Milwaukee, where I think fans root and I think they're realistic. And they're not just trying to cut the feet out from underneath the coach. Anytime anything doesn't go the way it's supposed to, some of those fan bases can be pretty rough. But I think pretty much here in the Central with the Pirates and the Reds and the Cardinals, the Brewers and the Cubs, it's real sensible fan bases, I would call it. So good for him. I'm glad I'll be honest, I'm not happy he's with the Cubs, but I'm happy for him. And I think with him getting this contract, maybe managers, this will help some of their contracts too. And all across the league, the guy from Tampa Bay who's been there for a long time, and
he makes minimum wage.
Yeah. And I think the Brewers already had a kind of inferiority complex towards Chicago. They're like the second city, you know. And now he ran to greener pastures and it's over to the Cubs. So, I kind of feel for the Brewers fans. It's going to be rough when you guys go there. It's going to be a great rivalry, and I can't wait to watch all those games this year.
Mm-hmm. I can't help but feel like it's the beginning of the end for the Brewers. They've got Corbin Burns' contract is expiring. They don't seem to want to pay him. Their manager is gone now. I mean, it seems like the
There's
writing's on the wall.
stadium issues too.
Mm-hmm.
It goes beyond what's just on the field. Ugh.
You think maybe Corbin Burns or Josh Hader or some of those great Brewer players that like playing for Council, they may be on their way over there now.
They already got Hader out of there. So
Yeah, we were talking before you came on here that now Josh Hader's got to be on the Cubs' radar.
Mm-hmm.
He liked playing for Council. The players do like him, so
Yes,
he liked playing for Council. So Corbin Burns, yeah, these players may gravitate towards the Cubs. So secondarily in Cub news, not as big as a splash, but maybe just as important as getting Council, Marcus Stroman declined his option, declined $21 million to become a free agent after pitching horribly for 2/3 of the season. Max, what are your thoughts on that?
it's good for us. I mean, that's $20 million that can go to Soto potentially, or a young Japanese phenom perhaps, or maybe Otani. So just really nice to have all that money freed up. I mean, if he opted in, it wasn't a huge deal. He'd probably be a solid 3 for us, which is completely okay. Weirdly enough, he kind of feels like a Cardinals pitching target, just a little bit. Ground ball pitcher. I can see it happening. He'll be on the cheaper side a little bit. Won't be looking for a huge amount of money. Something to keep your eye on, certainly.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah, I understand why he did it. He's not going to find $21 million somewhere for 1 year. I think at his age, I think he's 32. I think he's looking for that 3 or 4 year deal, probably somewhere between 55, 70 million, somewhere in there, and finish out his career. And if he stayed with the Cubs at 21 million and his disastrous pitching that happened the last 2/3 of the year continued, that's going to be his last payday. So he's kind of gambling that he's going to find a team that's going to give him 3 or 4 years, going to pay him less per year, but he can get that stability to finish his career. And that's quite a gamble. And when I look at it from his perspective, maybe I would have done the same thing. Maybe I would have gambled that there's going to be a team that needs pitching that will gamble that this was an anomaly. His last 2/3 of the season, that he's still a quality pitcher. Pick him up for maybe 3 years, $50 million, and he can finish up his career and help somebody out. I like the guy personally. I think he's a great person. He's a different cat from other baseball players. The way he uses social media and presents himself and stuff like that. But I like the guy, and I do admire the gumption that he's like, I could have 20 million in the bank, but I'm going to gamble on myself.
Yeah. The first third of the season, it was like until that London series, he was a top 5 pitcher. The first third, he was on fire, but then some injuries, and I don't know if he tried to come back too fast. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but yeah, it didn't go so good down the stretch.
He's a precision pitcher that has to be on. If he's not on, he's flirting with being a batting practice pitcher. So, and he would have flashes. Even when he was pitching bad, he'd have a couple innings where you thought, okay, he's looking good, and then he'd have the inning where the fastball would just float in the middle of the zone and they would kill it. So anything going on in Cardinal news?
Well, nothing as big as the Cub news. I first want to say to everybody out there, Happy Veterans Day. That's coming up Saturday. We have a lot of veterans that watch. I got a picture of Whitey back here. He fought in the Korean War. So I got a Whitey Herzog right there. So happy Veterans Day to everybody. And that'll be Saturday coming up. Yeah, we didn't have the Cardinals usually have a big press conference at the end of the year where they talk about the next year, what we're going to do. But this year they didn't have it, which kind of scared me. Somewhere in the middle of the year, they were talking about 3 pitchers. We got to go out and get 3 pitchers. And then somewhere around September, they started backing up on that claim of getting 3 pitchers. And just this week, Mozeliak was talking about, well, we're going to have pretty much the same payroll we did last year, which, we do have money to spend, but that's not very promising on getting 3 pitchers. And if we do, I don't know if they're going to be, the top of the line guys or anything like that. But we'll see. I still, I'm usually a very positive person, but I'm kind of coming down off that optimistic cloud. So we'll see. I'm going to give them a chance. Let's see what happens here. This week I met a couple of baseball players. I went up there to Rivas Barracks and met Tito Landrum. You remember that name, Tito Landrum?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tito. He looks just the same with less hair. Just less hair. So I had Tito, he sent a couple cards. I know we do cards at the end of the show, but there's old Tito Landrum for people that don't remember. And then he played for the Dodgers too, and he had his National League Championship rings on. So he had a couple of nice rings. And the other player was Brian Harper. And he played for a lot of teams, but he was with the Cardinals about 4 years. So I had him sign some cards. There he is with the Minnesota Twins. There's a Fleer 91 right there. Pirates, and this is my favorite actual card that I got signed right there. That's a nice card right there. I like him with the Pirates. And then the Cardinal card. There it is. It was the same year I got the Tito Landrum card. So anyway, got to meet him, talked to him a little bit. Nice guys. Tito Landrum looks pretty much the same. Brian Harper looks a little bit older, don't we all though? And I met a guy who is in the hobby game, and a part of the baseball is changing. We're going more digital. You usually can't spend money at the ballpark. You got to use a card. So cash they usually don't use. So really, the ticket has changed. Used to, you could get a ticket in your hand and you hand the ticket, they tear it off, but now it's on your phone. So this guy collects old tickets, and I thought, that's odd. And I looked through his collection, and I bought one because I thought this is nice. And he would put little things about the game, and this happens to be a August game at Wrigley, 2013, Cardinals Cubs. It was game 61. And on the card, they put Bruce Sutter right there. Yeah, the Hall of Famer himself, Bruce Sutter, on one of the old cards. And this was the game Molina hit, home run number 86. Just a little trivia right there, but that's pretty cool. So you young fans out there, we all used to get tickets. You'd go to the box office and you'd buy it, and they'd hand you a ticket, and you go in, they tear it, just like at the movie theater. But this is a kind of a thing of the past you may not be seeing anymore. And then Allen Ginter, the company that puts out those kind of like, it looks like maybe the 1920s, these old photographs and everything of the players. They're doing a little bit larger cards. I got an Ozzie Smith on the wall back there, but I got a Yadier Molina this time. Just kind of like that look right there. That's a nice looking card. So anyway, that's some of the things. Now, in Cardinal land, we got 2 players this week. We picked up a AAA pitcher from Seattle Mariners for cash considerations. He was an all-star player in the minor leagues. And he struck out 86 guys in 55 innings. He throws in the mid-90s. And his strikeout rate is over 14 strikeouts per 9 innings. Potential. Got a lot of potential there. In our bullpen, if he can stay healthy and have some sort of accuracy and not be walking people, probably got a job with us. He had 15 saves, and he was 2-5 in AAA. And his name is Riley O'Brien, and his grandfather, Johnny O'Brien, played in 1958 for the Cardinals. So that's kind of a
Hmm.
neat little touch right there. I kind of like that kind of stuff there. So I'm welcoming him to the Cardinals. He's on a 40-man rotation roster, and we'll see what happens there. And the other guy we actually got from the Cubs.
JY.
Yeah. Do you know much about him? I just know he's a
We've
utility.
seen him play in person. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You like him? I mean, solid.
Yeah, he's a really good bench guy. I mean, first baseman, a lot of power.
All right.
Good option to have.
All
He
right.
plays some third too.
Yeah, we watched him play third. It was passable.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
he's got some pop. So
yeah. Well, it's always good to have a deep roster. So there you go. So now we got 3 utility guys on our team, it looks like. But I got a feeling Edmund may start somewhere out there. There's gonna be some trades. So we're just getting started. The World Series just ended, and this is the awards time of the year. You start hearing rumors. The winter meetings are coming up right now. They're having the GM meetings. And to be honest with you, we started out with a bang. There's a lot of managers and general managers getting hired. So I know the Mets got the Yankees bench coach, and
Mendoza, yeah.
yeah, that happened. And
Is it Stephen Vaught who went to the Guardians?
Yep.
And the Padres haven't made their decision, but I'm pulling for Schilt.
Me too. And I'm sure he's not going to be happy with the Cardinals. So, oh Lord, it's going to be a wild season coming up. But hey, while I got the mic, I was going to have a contest. I don't know if you want to wait until we talked about free agents, but last year, about this episode last year, we had our first contest where I put the 5 top free agents out there, and everybody took a guess, and whoever guesses where they end up, the more people you get correct, you get a prize. And this year, because we are one Cardinal and one Cub, I got a garden gnome, and it's the Bruce Sutter garden gnome. I think that's such a wacky prize, but there it is, the Bruce Sutter garden gnome. So that's a Cub and a Cardinal right there. And I tell you what, later in the show, when we get to the talking about free agency, at the end of that, I'll put out the top 5 free agents, and then and you have 1 week to get your guesses in, and then we'll have a running tally throughout the winter and see who gets that. And that's it for Cardinal news.
Well, I've seen a few reports that are tying Arenado to the Dodgers. Do you think there's credibility to that, or?
There was talk at the end of last year, and you fall in love with the player, and you're like, oh no, but it looked like they were going to throw a lot of their minor leaguers at us, some of their top pitchers in the minors, and the Cardinals are desperate for pitching. I don't know. Yes, I think there is some credibility to that. Depends on what the Dodgers are willing to give up, but yeah, we'll see. And Max Muncy was mentioned in that trade too last year, so we'll see.
Yeah, and tying this to the Dodgers, coming back around to the Cubs, I read a report that now Justin Turner is in play for the Cubs for third base. I guess he's got ties to Councell some way. I didn't have time to research it, but we need a third baseman, and you guys may be doing musical third baseman. And
yeah,
now is Jordan Walker, is his natural position third base?
It is. And also Nolan Gorman is also naturally a third baseman.
Yeah,
so they've had to play other positions because Arenado's over there, which you understand. But
yeah,
right now you could sell high because he's still young. He's he's got a contract, and you probably could get the most for him right now. I don't want to see him go, but I'm for making any trade that would make the team as a whole better.
Yeah. Let's speaking of Arenado and people's gloves, just kind of go over the Gold Glove winners in the American League. First baseman Nathaniel Lowe of the Texas Rangers. Second base Andreas Jimenez of the Guardians. Third base Matt Chapman of the Blue Jays. Shortstop Anthony Volpe of the Yankees, the first rookie shortstop to win in like a million years. Catcher, Jonathan Heim of the Rangers. Pitcher, Jose Barrios of the Blue Jays. Left field, Stephen Kwan of the Guardians, and he does deserve it. He is a good defensive left fielder. Center fielder, Kevin Kiermaier of the Blue Jays. He's got a closet full of those now.
Been doing it
Right
forever.
field.
Yep.
What's that?
He's been doing it forever.
Yeah. Right field, Adalis Garcia, the Rangers. So the Rangers have three that are taking home some awards with their gloves. And utility is Mercurio Dubon of the Rangers. In the National League, first base, Christian Walker of the Diamondbacks. Second base, Nico of the Cubs. Third base, Cabrian Hayes of the Pirates, winning his first. Shortstop, Swanson of the Cubs. Catcher, Gabriel Moreno of the Diamondbacks, and his defense has really impressed me. Saw a lot of him the last month of the season, and then in the postseason, that guy's a stud. Pitcher, Zach Wheeler of the Phillies. Left field, Ian Happ of the Cubs. Center field, we have Brendan Doyle of the Rockies, and right field, Fernando Tatis of the Padres. And utility is Ha-Sung Kim of the Padres. I just want to say I looked at the metrics of Fernando Tatis. Pretty smart.
Absurd.
Movement.
Absolutely absurd for a guy in his first season playing right field. Like 99th percentile good defender, which is, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely the right move to move him there. And great job by him. We've talked, Max sent me a text saying that Nico and Swanson had won the Gold Gloves. I said, who won in left field? I just figured someone else did. He said, LOL, Hap. Okay. Is two people who've watched a lot of Ian Happ, I'm just going to say this. The left fielders in the National League must really all suck.
They kind of do. I mean, so, it's whatever. Power to him. He was actually really good last year defensively. He just took a step back this year, and he was just still slightly better than everyone else. So, great.
We got to give it to someone.
I know as a Cardinal, we had about 6 guys play left field for us, and O'Neill was the starter at the beginning of the year, but we had so many injuries and guys playing out of position. We didn't have anybody who even scratched the quality of a Gold Glove in the outfield. Vince, you were right on a lot of these guys. You were talking about Gold Glovers and who you thought was going to win. You were right. I think like 95% of these guys you called. There was 13 first-time winners out of all these guys. That's great. We've seen a big change in the game. Spotlighting new players with all these new metrics. They can kind of judge them different than just the eyeball test. And there was 2 rookies on this list that won the Gold Glove. So that's pretty cool. And a lot of these young players are coming up and, I mean, just taking over in the game. Used to, it took a player a while. I mean, Mike Trout, the first year he played, he was good, but he wasn't special. And some of these guys are just, and Mickey Mantle wasn't great his first year. Some of these young players are coming in today and just taking over. I guess these college, the level of the college game has went up, the international league and the minors. I think just the level of play has just gotten better and better across baseball. Some of the guys I was going to talk about was that Dubon from the Astros. I looked him up. He played every position this year except pitcher and catcher. So how can you compete with that? I thought Edmund had a shot until I read that, and I was like, wow, that guy's just Mr. Reliability on your team right there. But and congratulations to the Cubs. 3 Gold Gloves for you guys. Fantastic.
And yeah, Max did call it that if Kim would get the utility, then that would be a lock for Nico at second. And Kim did get the utility, and Nico won at second base. And it's hard to, defense is something you got to watch every day. I cannot tell you. Oh, Anthony Volpe is obviously the best defender I've ever seen, because I saw a few Yankee games this year, and I did. Sometimes you just have a few games where you're not doing anything spectacular, but when you watch someone day in and day out, And that's kind of what we feel about Swanson and Warner. Yeah, we pretty much thought that's the best we've seen. And then we've also watched Hap every day. We're like, someone's gotta win it. So
Hey, at least he's no Mancini.
oh
Poor Trey Mancini.
yeah, and we got to talk about a big congratulations to the Texas Rangers winning their first World Series. I was voting for both teams, but I had a slight rooting interest in Texas just so they can bring one home. And now the onus is on the Dallas Cowboys to win a championship, because every other major sports team has won one in Dallas, and the Cowboys, who are America's team, it's the last time they won one, like in the 90s, so
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bruce Bochy too. That guy, he had a nice pro career as a player, but just a nice career. But as a coach, look at all he's done, and he's kind of, 4 titles. He's moved up into like legendary status now. Come off the couch and win a championship. Now the Rangers were spending some money every year and getting this team together, but man, he did a fantastic job, and good for him. I didn't root against him all. Well, when we picked our playoff teams, Vince, I was terrible. When I had a 50-50 chance there at the end, I got it right, but it was, I just took a shot in the dark. But man, that was rough.
Yeah, and for those of you who are wondering, are we going to revisit that? Our predictions? We will, but we have to wait to the award seasons to get over, because we picked MVP and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think so far everything I've picked has come to fruition. The only thing
I got Ohtani right, I think, but that's about
what's
it.
that?
I think I got Ohtani right for MVP, and that's probably about it.
The only thing that I picked that's right's been my nose. Hey, little booger joke, second grade humor. All right. The Rangers, Corey Seager, overlooked guy when he was with the Dodgers, has always proved that when healthy, he is a stud, and he certainly stepped up and carried that team, helped carry that team. They had a lot of players who had great series, but won the MVP of the World Series. I thought the last game was really, really good. We watched Eovaldi and Gallen just go nip and tuck, and Gallen had that no-hitter going into the 7th. I'm thinking, man, he's really redeeming himself. But in the end, you get tired, and Texas just had all that momentum. And Eovaldi's also proving that when healthy, he is an absolute one of the best pitchers. And I just thought, even though it was 4 games, one wasn't a close World Series, I thought it was an entertaining World Series. And I know that people are complaining about the ratings, but that's what you get. Like it or not, baseball is a regional sport. It's not like the NFL. When your team is in it, you pay attention. You have a big swell of people in your hometown watching it. But for people in St. Louis who are not just complete baseball nerds, they're not going to pay attention to the Rangers and Diamondbacks. That's just a fact of how Major League Baseball works. But I was entertained the whole off season, or the whole postseason, and I thought 2 very good teams represented each league, and I do think that the better team won the World Series. Thoughts?
Well, Mike Shannon, when he used to do games, and if you catch him before the 7th inning, he would say some really wise things. And one he said is momentum. If you have scoring opportunities and you don't cash in, momentum's going to change on you. And I'm telling you, the first 5 innings, it looked like the Diamondbacks had in that last game had the Rangers on the ropes, and Eovaldi would have second and third with 2 outs, and he'd get that out. And I knew sooner or later it was going to swing back the other way. And Gallen just pitched a great game. But I've seen that happen a lot. Somebody just looks unhittable, and all of a sudden 1 inning, that's all it takes. It's one big hit, and the rally gate goes and stuff like that. So I kind of had that feeling like they need to cash in here. And Evaldi, fantastic job. Their defense. That's another thing about the Rangers. Their defense was so top notch. And Bochy played that bullpen fantastic. They had a couple starters in there that could go long innings. And I tell you what, I just loved watching it. I was trying to figure out kind of the moves he would make. And you always look at the pitch count and all that kind of stuff. That's always fun to do. So when I watch baseball, that's what I do. I kind of predict I would do this, I would do that, and see how correct I am. And there's a lot of Cardinals in those games. Tommy Pham probably is going to get a nice paycheck after that performance he had in the series. And of course, Garcia got hurt, and I thought, that may be a chance for Diamondbacks to come back. But anyway, like you said, Vince, great series. I absolutely loved it, and I always get sad when the season's over. But now we're having the awards and the free agents and saying goodbye to some of the players that have announced their retirements. And so anyway, that's my take on the World Series there. I absolutely loved it.
Let me throw one more thing in, because this guy is an absolute Cub killer, no matter who he's playing for. I've always liked Jankowski. And when Garcia got hurt and they put Jankowski in, and the guy can run like the wind. And I like that long flowing hair, and kind of looks like a stork. He's doesn't look tremendously athletic, but I was glad to see that he contributed in the last game, had a really good game, and had that wonderful sliding catch where they nearly collided. I think it was him and Simeon. I really have always liked that player. He's one of those players who, for some reason, is going to hit the Cubs. He's going to have a big hit in a series or something to hurt them. And he's just not been that type of player against other teams. He's always been like that fourth outfielder. But I really like that he had a good game 7 and contributed, and didn't have to sit the bench. Too bad it was at the expense of Garcia getting hurt. But hey, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I am going to miss baseball. This is the time of the year I'm going to get depressed because my mistress is leaving and I won't see her again until like the second week of February. Don't worry, my wife knows about her, so don't worry about it. She understands. But you know who else is going to miss the World Series?
I miss him. Could it be Jeremy Connor?
It's Jeremy Connor. He's going to miss the World Series. Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. All right, we are going to look at the top 10 free agents as ranked by Major League Baseball, and we're going to take a guess of where they are going to end up. I'm going to attempt to share my screen. Here we go. Share. There we are.
All right.
I see JJ in the corner. Let me see. Can I get Max and me in the corner too?
I see both of you.
Okay. All right. Max, what do you see?
I see everyone.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. So I guess with me, the last person that talks is who pops up. So that's pretty cool. All right. On the screen, I have the free agents ranked from number 10 to number 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to guess the team that they're going to go to, the number of years we think they're going to get, and the amount of the contract, however many millions it is. And the number 10 free agent is Matt Chapman. So, Max, you got any feelings on where Chapman might end up?
I could see the Cubs potentially. In fact, I don't know if I'd guess them necessarily, but I mean, we've clearly needed solid third baseman. I don't think Nick Madrigal is. I don't think he's going to be on the roster. I think he's most likely to be traded to another team, and I can't really think of any other teams that would be interested in his services. maybe the Yankees. I don't know who they're trotting out at third base anymore, but Josh Donaldson isn't there anymore, so potentially them. But I'll say the Cubs. I'll say it'll be a 2-year deal. It'll be short, maybe an opt out after the first year for I don't know 40. No, not 40. $35 million total. Why not?
Hmm. I could do that as a Cub fan. JJ, what do you think? Matt
Well,
Chapman?
Matt Chapman. Well, Max did mention this team, the Yankees, because I think what the Yankees want, usually the Yankees get. They're not that far away. They're probably going to spend a lot of money this year, and I see him getting a 3 or 4 year contract, and I'm going to say 3 years. I say like 55 million. 3 years, 55 million for him. They need some leadership on that team. Aaron Judge can't keep pulling the wagon, and he'd be a great player for that team.
Okay, I'm going to go outside the box a little bit, and I'm going to say the D-backs because they need a third baseman. Longoria obviously is at the end of his career, and I I think that for a team that is ready to just made it to the World Series, they're going to look to add something significant. I think Matt Chapman could be that person. And I see him getting 3 years for the Diamondbacks. And I'm going to go, uh, I'll go 45 million. And that's for a guy who's a Gold Glove third baseman.
That's right.
But his offense, he's got some power, but there's a lot of holes in his offensive game. So he's not going to get as much as Arenado would get, but he's going to get some money. So next we have JD Martinez, who is basically a designated hitter now. So
right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this would be really fun. I'm gonna say the Tigers. I think a reunion could be possible. They don't have Miggy anymore, so they may want a veteran presence. They're gonna have DH at bats available, and I could see kind of like almost like a Jose Abreu type deal where maybe it's like 3 years, 50 million. He's 36. He's on the older side, but he still hit 30 home runs this year and hit 270. So yeah, I'll say 3 years, 50 million.
Well, he is an older player. Let's see. I had his age written down. 36 years old. He's 36 years old. I think he wants to play for a winner. A team that's a young team that needs some leadership. And like Max was saying, he was talking about a reunion with the Tigers. I don't know their whole roster or anything, but he did pretty good with the Red Sox. I could see him getting a 1 year deal. He liked it there, and it could be, I don't know, 18 million, 1 year, 18 with the Red Sox. That's just, I don't know. I'm just throwing a Hail Mary there. I'm not quite sure because some of the teams that really could use them, I don't think have the money, like the Florida Marlins and teams like that. So I'll go Red Sox 1 year.
1 year for what?
18.
Okay. I'm going to I know this team said they're going to slash payroll this year, and I think they are because I think Soto is coming to the Cubs, and they're losing Hader, they're losing money there. But I don't think the Padres are completely deconstructing, and I think that JD Martinez would work out good there. They tried Nelson Cruz there this year. He didn't have it anymore, but I think JD Martinez would be a pretty good fit for the Padres. And I got 1 year, and I'll go 18 million. Jordan Montgomery.
Man, this is tough because I mean, every team needs pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Dodgers. I could see the Dodgers. They obviously they had their rotation issues during the playoffs, and if they believe in his health, they could. I could see that happening. I don't. He's on the older side, right? He's in his 30s now, correct?
I have him right at 30 years old.
You know what? I'll say the Tyone deal. I'll say 4 years, 70 million.
All right. Jordan Montgomery. The Mets have the most money. They kind of struck out with Max Scherzer and Verlander last year. Ended up getting trades and getting some young prospects and everything. But I think he'd be perfect with the Mets, and I think he's going to hold out and get 4 years. And I could see him getting 84 million because the Mets like to throw that money around. And I think they're going to be the top suitor for him, and he'd fit perfect there. And he could stick it to the Yankees for giving up on him.
Okay. I think he is going to go to the Dodgers. I think he's maybe their priority as far as pitching, and they think this is the guy who's going to do it for them. And I see the Dodgers wanting 4, but he holding out for 5. Hey, where'd my there we go.
Oh, there it is.
Holding out for 5, and I see that being about 110 million. Sonny Gray.
I think he sticks with the Twins. I think they extend him. Gosh. He's what? He's 31, 32. He's in that range. You guys too light on my Montgomery. It's too light on that contract. I'll say 4 years, 90 million. So, I mean, he's pretty much their ace, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, he or that oh gosh, the guy they got from the Marlins. I can't think of his name right now.
Well, Sonny Gray, I thought that was for some reason, I just feel like he's a Cardinal type of guy. I think it's him or someone else that lives in St. Louis, and they're very good friends with Adam Wainwright. But since he had such a great year with Minnesota, I'm going to see Minnesota. I'm just like Max. I think they're going to hold on to him, and they're going to go all out for him. I don't know if it'd be 90 million, but I'm going to say Montgomery money, 4 years, 84 million for him too. They're going to do everything.
It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Sonny Gray. He turned 34 today.
Sonny Gray.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm going to go with the Cardinals. That's been the rumor since the season was coming to an end. And I think the Cardinals are going to go 4 years. And they'll go with him. They're not going to go quite 20 million a year. So I'll say 75 million.
That sounds like a Cardinal contract.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Josh Hader.
Ugh. That's tough. Closers are so hard to read. I'm gonna do the money first before I do the team. I think he'll get what Edwin Diaz got, which was like 6 years, like 100 million. I'll do the contract first. As far as teams that need closers, I don't think the Cubs are going to be in on him. The way they've constructed their bullpen the past few years, it just hasn't. They haven't gone out and splurged on these closer guys. I think you have teams that really could use that in the bullpen, and who have the money to do it. Maybe the Phillies. They've got some guys in their pen. Kimbrel's on his way out, most likely. They could use a bona fide guy like Josh Hader. So I'll say the Phillies.
Okay.
Man, everybody could use him. He's 30. I don't see him getting 6 years. I could see somebody giving him 3 years and upping the money a little bit. And a team that is just pitching weak and really could use him and have money is the Angels, the Anaheim Angels. I I could see them going all in. They make crazy moves. They go after big names, and they never quite work out.
That would be such an Angels contract, and he would throw like 100 innings for them before his arm exploded. That's exactly what would happen.
Yeah. So I see 3 years, and they're going to have to up the money a little bit to get him to go there. I could see 3 years, probably 75 million. Let's just say. I'm not good with the money, but it ain't my money.
Okay, I'm going to once again go to the National League champions because Seawald is just not the pitcher that Hader is. The talent on the Diamondbacks, a lot of their best talent are pre-arb, so they've got some money. So I think they're going to throw money at Hader to try to shore up that back end of the bullpen to where it's just lights out. And I don't think they'll go any more than 3 years on him. But I like the 3 years. I like the 75 million. That, yeah, it would be the same contract that JJ's talking about for the Angels, but the difference is the Diamondbacks would have purpose, whereas the Angels just, I think they take a lot of LSD there. That's just my issue there. So Max, who do you got for Aaron Nola?
I mean, I think he stays with the Phillies. He's so important to that rotation. He's only 30, and he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball for the past 5 or 6 years. Just so consistent. You know what? I think they're going to throw the bag. I'll say 6 years and $135 million.
I'm with you, Max. I think he's going to stay with the Phillies. I think he's just too valuable there. Now, if somebody comes and just goes stupid and tries to grab him, I could see that. But the Phillies, he likes it there, and all his teammates and everything. But I could see them having to go up to about 5 years to keep him, and that would take him, right into his mid-30s. But I see him getting 100 million for 5 years, and then somebody like the Yankees or the Angels or the Dodgers are going to have to come in with crazy amounts. They're going to top that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do the Yankees because I do think that they're just going to go stupid on this. And I will do 5 years and 120 million. Now, I've heard a lot of rumors linking Nola to the Cardinals, but I think the Cardinals, I think Sonny Gray is more their kind of a contract than what Nola's going to command. Cody Bellinger.
This is so tough because he's gonna want a ton of money, and he's so valuable to the Cubs that I think they have to pursue him, even if it's gonna cost a ton of money. I don't want to pick the Cubs. I don't want to be a homer and pick the Cubs, but I'm gonna have to say Cubs, and I've seen this everywhere, so I'll just say 6 years, 144 million. That's I think that's what Freddie Freeman got, and as a center fielder, first base, I think that's a good guess.
Until last year, Bellinger had a couple off years, but he really took himself up last year. A team that usually spends money and could use him, and he's only 28 years old too. So he's probably looking for a nice long contract because he seemed pretty happy in Chicago. But I could see the Red Sox going for him. He'd be perfect right there. And I could see them having to go about 7 years on him. And we're talking probably 150 million bucks, I'd have to say, because he plays a great defense too.
Yeah, I hate to sound like a homer, but I do think he's going to. I would not have said the Cubs a few days ago, but with the Stroman money available now, of course, Hayward money's coming off the books, and with the money they've invested in their manager and Councell, I think the Cubs are going to be all in on Cody, and I think they're going to go 7 years, and I think it's going to be somewhere around 180 million, about what they paid Jason Hayward. So Blake Snell.
Gosh. Whoever signs Blake Snell is going to. It just feels like a bad contract. He walks too many people. I know he's going to win his second Cy Young this year, but I don't even know. Someone's going to sign him. Someone's going to pay for him, and it's going to be, in my opinion, probably a horrible contract. If the Cubs were to sign Blake Snell, I would be a little bit disappointed. I would think, even though he just came off winning a Cy Young. But everybody needs pitching, so somebody will shell out money. You know what? Oh, man, this is tough. You know what? I'm gonna go outside the box. I'm gonna say the Marlins.
Oh man, hey,
Yeah, I think they've got a new president of baseball operations. He's gonna show people he means business by. He's also a former Ray. They hired a new guy. This is not really cover Cardinal news, so we didn't cover it. But they hired a new president of baseball operations, Peter Bendix, who comes from the Rays organization, so he's familiar with Blake Snell. So that's my logic for this, and I'm gonna say he's gonna get. Gosh, he is. How old is he? He's 30.
I got him being 30. Oh, wait a minute. No, let me see. You're right. 31. I got him being 31.
Yeah, he turns 31 in a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
So I'll say 5 years, 120 million.
That is outside the box.
Yes. This is the one when the Cardinals don't get Aaron Nola when he goes back to the Phillies, that's my prediction. The Cardinal fans are going to like, what are we going to do? And the Cardinals are going to go full push for Blake Snell, and he's going to sign with the Dodgers. Where the Dodgers are going to outbid us, and we're not going to be able to compete with the Dodgers payroll, but they're probably going to have to go up a few years. I'm with Max with him being 31. They're probably going to go 5 years, maybe a club option for a sixth, and they're probably going to pay him a king's ransom, probably like 128 million bucks, I'd say. So we're not going to get either one of the big free agent pitchers. All three, the top three pitchers, we're not going to get.
Yeah, see, I got the Cardinals settling on Sonny Gray. Now Sonny Gray, Cardinals are going to get a pitcher. That's right. They've got to for a PR move, and I've got Gray being their big sign. If they don't get Gray, they don't get Nola. They don't get Montgomery. I don't know if he'd want to come back or not. I see Snell being. They're going to throw all their chips in that. That said, I think they're going to go for Gray. So that takes Snell off the table. Now, this one's really tough for me, but I think that we are looking at the Giants.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And
I hadn't thought of them.
I think the Giants, 6 years, and I'm going to go 170 million.
Yeah, I think that's more in line. I think I undervalued starting pitching because, Max Scherzer got like $40 million, and he was like 40. So yeah, I think you're probably. I'm probably being too conservative.
Yeah, but he got it from the Mets.
Oh yeah, that is true. That doesn't count.
Oh, yeah. Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one.
Remember, he's only 25.
Yeah. So I think if he does sign a contract, he's going to sign a contract. He's going to make a ton of money. I think it'll be almost shorter. I'm going to say 6 years. 6 years, 200 million. That way he can get another huge contract when he's in his his early 30s. When most people would hit free agency, by that time he's already made $200 million. As far as the teams go, I think it'll be the Giants and the Dodgers bidding for Ohtani. Whoever loses that bidding war is going to sign Yamamoto, and I think that's going to be the Giants.
All right. I've been thinking about this one. Every team's interested. Everybody's sent people to Japan to scout this guy. I know we sent some of our top players over there. I know he's got ties. He knows some of the Cardinals. He knows some of the Cubs. I just can't see us getting this guy. There for a moment, I thought about Toronto, but with their taxes, he won't make as much money in Toronto. Baltimore, they got a problem. All their players are going to be coming up, and in 5 years, they're all going to be free agents. I can't sign them all. They almost have to go in, but Baltimore's known for being kind of tight with the purses, but this would be big for them, and they could really use them. I'm going to go outside the box. Max said that with the Marlins and Blake Snell. I'm going to go Baltimore Orioles on this one. And like Max, it's going to be a long contract. They're going to tie him up for, I'm going to say 7 years, but I'll probably go 200 million 7 years. Because that's a big area. He'll be seen in Boston and New York Yankee areas. That'd be huge.
Okay. I agree with Max's philosophy that he's going to try to have 2 big free agent signings. This one, and he's going to want one somewhere around the 30 mark. So I think the Cubs are going to outbid everybody on him. This is the guy that they've targeted, and this is who they want. And that's going to go 5 years. And we are looking at I'm trying to do the math.
200 mil it'd be 40 mil per year. So maybe not that much, but
thinking about 185 million.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate.
And now the big tamale, or the big
I
sushi.
have to say the Dodgers. Everything the Dodgers have done for the past 2 years has pointed directly at this signing. Even up at not extending a qualifying offer to JD Martinez, who is probably worth 20 million on a 1 year. They freed up all this payroll. They clearly are going to do this. I don't think anyone can outbid them, unless the Mets absolutely go insane. I think this is 100% the Dodgers. It's not going to be close, and they're going to time up. It's going to be basically kind of like the Bryce Harper contract with maybe double the actual money. So it'll be 12 years, and I'll say 450 million.
Well, I tell you what, Max, you talked me into it. I was going to say the Angels 1 year, because the Angels want them so bad, and they were going to pay. I was going to say, this is what I originally was going to say until Max said that they've set this up for the last 2 years of not signing guys, freeing up money just to get him. And I agree. I thought, though, the Angels could get him 1 more year and pay a big expense to have him stay there, and maybe he'd want to. And as if they could build any kind of winning team, he, maybe make him think about staying. But you're right; nobody can outbid the Dodgers. And I don't know. I was thinking more like when he did go free agent. How old is Ohtani, by the way? 29.
Yeah, I think he's 29 right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say 9 years. I don't even know. I can't even think about this kind of money. 300. I don't know. 325 million. I have no clue.
Okay. Well, let me start with the obvious team from my perspective, the Cubs. I think he was on the Cubs' radar until the arm problems happened, because the Cubs we're looking at this, we get a pitcher and a hitter. Now the Cubs are gearing up for a run next year, so they need pitching. That's why I think they're going to go all in for Yamamoto. And then as far as the hitting goes, I think we're looking at trying to trade for either Soto, which is my preference, or Alonso. So I think the Cubs are bowing out of the Otani. And really, what's left? You got the Yankees. You have the Dodgers and maybe the Giants. There's not a whole lot of teams left to shell out that kind of money. But I am also going to go with the Dodgers. And I'll get kind of in the middle of you guys. I'm going to say 10 years, but I'm going to go $500 million.
Lord.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, it is a lot of money, but the revenue he's going to bring in with merchandise sales, extra eyes on your product, I think he's going to break the bank, be the first $500 million player. So, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to print this sucker up.
All right.
And after all these free agents have signed, we'll see how stupid we were.
I bet Max beats both of us right there. He
So-
had some good explanations.
So, JJ, for this contest, which five are we talking about? Are we talking about Nola, Bellinger, Snell, Yamamoto, Otani? Are those the top five you're talking about? Or
I had Otani, Yamamoto, Snell, Nola, and Bellinger.
yeah, so just like we did.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had.
There we are.
Yeah. So those top five we have. If you can tell us, you got a week to get your picks in, and you can send it to Vince or me, and we'll keep track of that. And every time somebody signs, if you got it right, you get a point. And the tiebreaker, I would say, would be Otani and how many years he gets. How many years is he going to get? So that's the tiebreaker right there.
Okay.
You got to pick the right team and the years. And then you'll be taking home the incredible, the lovely Garden Gnome, the Bruce Sutter Garden Gnome.
All right. Get rid of that stuff. Look at that beautiful Bruce Sutter Garden Gnome. Yeah.
And if you're a Cub fan, you can paint it blue, put the little Cub emblem on there.
All right. What are you opening up?
Oh, yes. And by the way, Tom Ajay, who got Rick Russell, is sponsoring my pack. He gave me this pack and said, hey, here you go. Open this up. So Tom Ajay is sponsoring our my pack this week, and it's 1986 Topps right there.
Good. Let's just call this the Tom Ajay Show.
Yes, the Tom Ajay Show. All right, 1986. What were you doing in 1986?
I was a sophomore in college. Max, what were you doing?
I don't know. I took a gap year.
I was living in Hillsboro at that time. All right. Hey, we a Hall of Famer, right? The first card, Milwaukee Brewer, Ted Simmons. Right there. Simba. Yeah. New York Met. I tell you what, 86 was kind of a special time. That was the year I think the Bill Buckner ball through the legs. And there's Sid Fernandez. Waterworld, that was a wild World Series right there. With Sid Fernandez of the Mets. All right, you know me and these foreign names. I'm terrible. Can you say that name? Concepcion.
Concepcion.
All right, there he is, right there. Kansas City Royal. Great hair.
I remember Onyx.
Yeah, there he is. Oh, very good. And he was a part of. Okay, here he is with the Kansas City Royals. He also was with the Phillies and the Cardinals. Dane Orge, right there.
Dane, and he had a brother Garth. Party on, Garth.
Oh, this guy had a nice career with the Dodgers. Dave Anderson, there he is. He can't believe Tommy Lasorda put him in the game right there. So there he is. All right. What do you think about Ricky Adams? San Francisco Giant Ricky Adams. I do not remember Ricky Adams.
It looks like he's bow-legged.
Well, he was riding a horse on the field, and they erased the horse. All right, New York Met Ron Reynolds. I'll be honest, do not remember Ron Reynolds.
I do remember him, not anything about his playing, but he did have the two N's in his first name, which I thought was weird, which I was correct. That is weird.
That is weird. Oh, this guy kind of is part of St. Louis lore. We got him from the Milwaukee Brewers. Here he is with the San Francisco Giants, David Green. David Green. We thought he was going to be our center fielder in 82. And he was a super athlete, but he kind of he had an injury, and Willie McGee took over, and then that was kind of the end of David Green right there. But there's David Green.
And the rumor was that the Cardinals thought he was 24 when they traded him to the Giants, and it turns out he may have been like 32. So who knows?
Yeah. Oh, Milwaukee Brewer, Rick Waits.
Okay.
Wasn't there a musician, Rick Waits?
Yes. Yeah, I believe there was.
And he played baseball too. That's Montreal, like the Expos were still a team back then. Bill Lasky. I think he's also a writer. Isn't there a Bill Lasky writer for
I don't know, but I do know Bill Lasky also pitched for the Giants.
Oh, very good. Very good. National League All-Star. You know what? Next time I see you, I'm going to give you this card to present to your wife. The one and only, the fashion model himself, Tommy Herr.
Jeez.
Hey, we know this guy, Terry Francona.
Yeah.
There he is with the Expos.
Ready to retire.
Yes. Oh, American League All-Star, and you lived in Kansas City for a while. Dan Quisenberry.
Yeah.
Submarine pitcher. Yeah. And finally, a guy who had a nice career, played with the Pirates, the Cardinals, the Red Sox, I know him, Mike Easler.
The Hitman.
Yeah, very good player.
Yeah.
And that is my pack right there. Thank you, Tom Maget, for the pack of cards.
I think Easler also spent time as a hitting coach.
I think you're right. Very good.
Okay, I have Dondras featuring the Willie Stargell puzzle. Oh. And I always had with Dondras, they don't put the year on it. You have to open it up and do the math and stuff. So what year is this? This is 1991. Oh, so here's the puzzle pieces of Willie.
Some statistics.
Some of the statistics. Nothing special there. So let's go to the good. JJ, you like this guy. I've heard you say many times you like this guy. And third baseman for the Athletics, also played for the Red Sox and the Angels, Carney Lansford.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't believe the Red Sox traded him, but Wade Boggs was on his way up from the minors.
Yeah, they always said that you couldn't win a batting title in Oakland because of the huge foul grounds, and he did win a batting title. So
Carney was a great player.
Toronto Blue Jay, Willie Blair. No bells for me. So
I think I heard the name.
Giant, Trevor Wilson.
Oh, yes. I remember Trevor Wilson.
Oh, the gambler, Kenny Rogers.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the one with the stuff on his hand in the World Series, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, that World
Kenny
Series
Rogers.
against the Tigers, you guys only lost one game, and that's the game that he played. Here's a guy who is really good at hand gestures, Gary Templeton.
I've met Gary Templeton. I didn't bring that up, But
remember the time you flipped off the fans and grabbed your crotch? Yeah.
He was a very good player. And when we traded him for Ozzie 1-for-1, I thought we got the raw deal because he would get the ball standing up that Ozzie had to dive for. But then he might throw it in the first row of the stands. But man, he hit 100 hits from the right side and the left side in one season. Very, very good player.
This is so serendipitous. My next card, Ozzie Smith.
Ozzie Smith, the wizard.
And another Hall of Fame pitcher, Keith Comstock.
You suckered me. You reeled me in on that one, Vince.
Former Yankee Greg Cartier.
I do not remember him.
Not much of a career. This guy had a pretty decent career with the Pirates. Jay Bell,
Oh,
shortstop,
yeah.
a little bit of pop.
He came over to the Royals, too.
Shortstop, just mentioned him the other one of the last episodes of the Deaking Lonnie Smith, the shortstop of that play, Greg Gagne.
Greg Gagne. Very good
Yeah.
twin.
Up Key Bryan's dad, Charlie Hayes.
Charlie Hayes. Yeah.
Gosh, this is a great pack. Another Hall of Famer, Rockin' Robin Yount.
Great player.
Could have been a Hall of Famer, but got a little derailed. Dwight Gooden. Good to see he got his life together. Awesome.
That first 3 years he had, my God, he was great.
His brother pitched in the majors. His father pitched in the majors. Mel Stottlemyre Jr.
Oh, yeah.
The worst of the Stottlemyres, by the way. And
the Mike Von Erich of the Stottlemyres.
Yeah, here's a guy who will never be in the Hall of Fame, period. Rafael Almero.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, there's a story. I'm going to say this real quick. When he played with the Cubs, almost won a batting title one year with the Cubs early in his career. There was a runner on second base, and he lined a pitch for a single in the left field. So it was runners on first and third, and the Cubs got out of the inning without scoring. And Zimmer chewed him out for not pulling the ball because we don't need a little hit to left field when we're not going to score the run, and read in the riot act. And was the catalyst for him turning into a pull hitter, roiding up and becoming a home run hitter, because when he was with the Cubs, he was a classic left-handed, spray the ball all over the field, some pop, not a whole lot. And then suddenly he goes to the Rangers and he's hitting home runs, goes to the Orioles, he's hitting home runs, he's getting bigger. So,
Thanks, Don Zimmerman.
Yeah, Don Zimmer turned him into a roid freak. So. Well, Max, what'd you think about our packs? I think
they're pretty solid.
I think I did pretty good.
You did. Yeah, you had a lot of Hall of Famers.
I still have last week's out. And when the highlight is Darren Dalton's wife, I knew I had a bad pack. Ex-wife, I should say, the Hooters one. So, well, gentlemen, thank you for your time. World Series is over. We're all going to be a little bit depressed, but we'll make it through. It's going to be a fun off season. A lot of free agents. It's going to be exciting to see how our teams and all the other teams do during the free agency. And I hope we have a lot of activity in November. That would just be interesting. Good material for the show. So,
yeah.
So thank you.